Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm glad you're here today. We're about to explore a fascinating topic. Do they really like you? Understanding the subtle signs of unrequited attraction. Over the next few minutes, we'll look into how to recognize the quiet hints that someone might not feel the same way, even if it seems like they do. We'll cover common signs, behaviors to watch for, and what these signals might really mean. So let's get started and uncover the secrets behind these subtle cues. Let's talk about a question that almost everyone has faced at some point. You know that person who makes your heart race a little when they smile at you? The one who makes your stomach do flip-flops just by being near? And who leaves you replaying every moment after it's over, trying to understand what it all meant? That lingering feeling, that mix of attraction and confusion, that's what we call the lingering question. The tricky part is figuring out if those feelings are mutual. Do they laugh at your jokes because you're genuinely funny or just out of politeness? Are they spending time with you because they want to get closer or simply because they enjoy hanging out with someone? This slide captures that core dilemma. It's about understanding whether those signs are genuine signals of interest or just friendly gestures. And this question of, are they really into me, is central to understanding romantic connection, which ties into our overall theme of deciphering relationship signals and building authentic connections. Navigating mixed signals can be really tricky, and I think many of us have been there, feeling unsure about someone's true intentions. Attraction isn't always straightforward, and when mixed signals come into play, it can become emotionally draining trying to figure out what's really going on. Before you let your feelings run away with you, it's helpful to take a step back and look at the situation more objectively. One of the first things to consider is whether they're genuinely interested in you or just being polite. Sometimes, polite interactions can be mistaken for something more, so it's important to look for consistent signs of interest. Decoding their intentions is about understanding if their actions really match your hopes or if there's a disconnect. Are they making an effort to connect, or are their actions more casual and indifferent? And finally, finding clarity means seeking clear signals amidst all the ambiguity. It's about identifying consistent behaviors and cues that tell you where you stand. All of this ties back to the overall theme of understanding and trusting your intuition, especially when signals aren't crystal clear. It's about being patient and observant so you can make more informed decisions about your emotional well-being. Let's talk about one of the clearest signs that someone might not be genuinely interested. Excuses. Often, avoidance shows up as busyness. You know, maybe you spend time together, sharing great moments, but then when you try to make plans again, they always have some other commitment. It's a pattern that can be quite telling. You might even check social media on a Friday night and see them dressed up, posting selfies, enjoying time with others, yet they told you they were busy. That kind of inconsistency is revealing. When we're truly drawn to someone, we prioritize them. We make the effort because our feelings motivate us to do so. And there's a scientific angle to this as well. According to psychologist Dr. Rachel Needle, love triggers neurochemicals like oxytocin, dopamine, and phenylethylamine. These chemicals heighten our alertness, excitement, and desire to connect. So if someone isn't eager to put effort into deepening the relationship, it's often a sign they don't feel the same level of attraction or interest. It's important to pay attention to these signals because they tell us a lot about where we stand with someone. Let's talk about sign 2, a one-sided connection. You might notice when conversations feel unequal. For example, if you're always the one sharing stories, opening up, and trying to keep the dialogue going, but the other person mostly just nods, listens, and contributes very little, this is a clear sign of imbalance. It suggests there's not enough give and take in the relationship. This brings us to the idea of reciprocity. Genuine emotional connection relies on both people investing equally in the interaction. If only one person is doing the talking, sharing, and engaging, it can create a disconnect. And then there's how you feel after these interactions. According to Alpine counseling, time spent with someone you love should leave you feeling energized and uplifted. But if you find yourself feeling drained or exhausted afterward, that could mean their engagement is reserved for someone else, or they're not fully present in the moment with you. So, recognizing these signs helps us understand when a connection might be one-sided. And it's a crucial step toward building healthier, more balanced relationships overall. Let's talk about sign 3, breadcrumbing behavior. Sometimes, people don't completely disappear from your life. They just give you just enough to keep you hanging on. You might get a quick DM, an occasional like on your posts, or sporadic messages that never really turn into concrete plans. It's a tactic where someone gives minimal attention, enough to keep you interested without actually investing in a real relationship. And this idea of breadcrumbing as a backup option is pretty common. As Cosmopolitan and the New York Times have pointed out, many use this strategy to keep you around just in case their main love interest doesn't work out. So, if their attention feels calculated rather than genuine, that's a big red flag. It's a sign they're not truly available or committed. Understanding this behavior helps us recognize when someone's playing games and when they're genuinely interested. It's all about paying attention to the quality of their attention, because real connection requires more than just crumbs. Let's talk about sign 4, indifferent body language. Words are important, but research by psychologist Albert Mehrabian shows that only about 7% of our communication actually comes from the words we say. The rest, an overwhelming 93%, is nonverbal, meaning tone, gestures, and body language. So what should we look for? For instance, do they avoid eye contact, or do they hold it way too long, almost forcing it? These can be signs of discomfort or insincerity. Also, pay attention to their posture. Are they angling their torso or feet away from you? That can indicate disinterest or disengagement. And what about their smiles? Are they polite but feel a little cold or distant? That's another subtle indicator of emotional disconnect. Body language expert Stephen Keel points out that too much eye contact can sometimes mask discomfort, making it tricky to interpret. If you notice this kind of indifference, polite responses that seem forced or disconnected, remember, they might be physically present but emotionally absent. Recognizing these cues helps us understand when someone isn't fully engaged, which ties back to our overall goal of effective communication. Now let's talk about sign 5, using you as a personal therapist. It's flattering, isn't it, when someone values your advice and turns to you for support? But the problem arises when every interaction becomes a vent session, especially about romantic issues or personal problems. When that happens, you've slipped into the role of a therapist, not a potential partner. This creates an unbalanced support system. According to Healthline, healthy relationships are built on equality and mutual respect. If you're constantly providing emotional support but not receiving the same in return, that's a clear sign the relationship isn't balanced. And it's important to note that this dynamic positions you more as a confidant or problem solver rather than someone they're romantically interested in. It shifts the focus away from building a romantic connection and places you in a role that's more like a therapist. Recognizing this is key to understanding where the relationship might be heading and whether it's truly a romantic one. Let's talk about sign 6, always preoccupied. One of the most painful signs to notice is emotional distance. If you find yourself always the one initiating conversations, but their replies come across as dry, distracted, or delayed, it's a strong indicator that their energy might be focused elsewhere. Boundaries are healthy and normal, but when silence and disengagement become the norm, it signals a lack of genuine desire to connect. If they seem more energized and engaged when they're with others, that's a clear sign that their heart may already be invested somewhere else. Watch out for dry, short replies, delayed responses, and a lack of initiative on their part. When they're more involved with others, it's often a sign that their emotional investment isn't fully with you anymore. Recognizing these signs can help you understand where you stand and whether their attention is truly with you or elsewhere. Final thoughts: protecting your emotional energy. It's completely natural to want clarity when feelings are involved. But the simple truth is, if someone truly wants to be with you, you won't be left guessing. Consistency is key. Attraction shows itself through consistent effort and prioritization. A genuine desire to connect and be present is a sign of emotional availability. And remember, their actions should align with their words. There should be no room for doubt. If their behavior leaves you feeling confused, drained, or second-guessing, that's actually an answer in itself. You deserve someone who doesn't just give you butterflies, but also provides stability, reciprocity, and care. Love isn't about chasing uncertain signals. It's about finding someone whose actions match their words and whose presence makes you feel secure, valued, and wanted. So always pay attention to the consistency, effort, and genuine connection. That's how you protect your emotional energy and find the relationship you truly deserve.